Embiid played just 19 games in 2025.
Damn.
And when he did suit up, he played without explosiveness, without power, and looked beaten and exhausted. He was a complete shadow of his former self.
All right, welcome back to another After Dark, everyone. Hope y'all having a good night so far. Hope you guys had a good day. Never thrown up while doing a reaction, but this might be the video to make me do it. This video is titled The Worst Contracts in the NBA Right Now. I can think of a few, but I'm not even gonna talk about the few because there's gonna be some in here that I'm not expecting that are gonna disgust me. And I'm sure all the ones I'm thinking about are going to be covered, so I'll save it for that. This is coming from the channel Nonstop. I know I don't know why I've ironically been covering quite a bit of their videos. Lately, they've been dropping some very interesting videos on topics like, excuse me, drink a Coke right before this. Yeah, they've been doing some interesting topics lately, like unique topics. So I've been wanting to watch them on my own, but the second I start watching them on my own, I'm like, oh, dude, I should probably watch this with you guys. So, anyways, that's what we're gonna check out today. I'm gonna link the original video down below in the description, like I always do. There you'll see a list of all channel members. Thank you, all channel members. You guys are awesome. And yeah. So if you want to check out the original video without my reaction, the link is right there for you. And everyone else, please like this video. It helps out a ton. And real quick, what do I think is the worst contract out right now? Whatever Ben Simmons is making. Let's go.
They were supposed to deliver wins and championships, but all they've given their teams is headaches and broken promises.
Oh, Bradley Beal.
These are the biggest salary cap burdens, the worst contracts in the NBA today.
Sorry, Jimmy Butler, too.
The Philadelphia 76ers are the team with the worst short-term future in the NBA because they have not one, but two horrible contracts on the books.
Not one.
Of course, we're talking about Joel Embiid and Paul George, whose injuries not only ruined the 2025 season for the Sixers, but they will probably ruin the next 3 seasons as well.
I forgot how much Paul George is getting paid, but I remember just rolling my eyes when I saw it. Let's see.
Embiid played just 19 games in 2025.
Damn.
And when he did suit up, he played without explosiveness, without power, and looked beaten and exhausted. He was a complete shadow of his former self. The 2023 MVP was still effective from mid-range and the free throw line, but the strength and athleticism he demonstrated throughout his career simply evaporated. And defensively, he was even worse. Embiid's lateral movement, which had always fascinated given his height and bulk, had completely disappeared. Joel became so bad.
If his lateral movement is struggling, he needs to go see Hakeem Olajuwon.
The teams systematically put him in the pick and roll, and guards ran by him like he wasn't even there. The man didn't suddenly forget how to play, but it was painfully clear that he needed to be shut down and get surgery on his ailing knee.
Yeah, well, maybe stop having him do step-back threes and have him play in the freaking post. I'm pretty sure he's a massive dude. His body is not built for step-back threes. It's the most irresponsible shit. I'm sorry for my language. It's so stupid. Yeah, no wonder why his legs are crumbling at this point. And stop having him flop too. Those two things alone, he'd be way less injury prone. Just get him in the block. He's a great player in the post. He's really strong and powerful. Play him there.
In the 2024 offseason, Embiid signed a 3-year, $193 million extension, which will keep him on the Sixers' payroll until 2029, when he'll be earning a whopping $67 million. And due to his constant knee injuries and the complicated solutions...
Oh, no, because I was going to suggest maybe bring him off the bench, give him $20 million a year, but they're screwed. They're locked in on him.
Which include low-level radiation therapy, meniscus replacement, microfracture surgery.
He's going to be a cyborg at a certain point here.
And osteotomy, which involves cutting bone to correct an axial deformity in the leg.
God.
Joel's and the Sixers' future doesn't look good.
No.
Embiid is 31, with numerous knee injuries behind him.
I can't believe he's already 31. It's over, isn't it? Damn.
It would be a miracle if he ever regained his old form. And the same can be said about his teammate Paul George, who spent the majority of the 2025 season battling groin and knee injuries, which could also require...
No, he spent the majority of the year working on his podcast.
surgery in the offseason. Like Embiid, George looked like a shell of the player he once was, averaging just 16 points on 43% shooting.
Dang.
His perimeter defense, which was once his main calling card, has been shredded to pieces, and PG-13 is one of the main reasons why Philly has the fourth worst defense in the NBA.
Dang.
George turned 35. He made $49 million in 2020.
Yo, what's that court? Hold on.
Worst defense in the NBA. George turned...
It's pretty sick right here. I don't know if I'd enjoy playing on it. I mean, I might. This is very 2K-ish right here.
Turned 35.
Oh, this is a tournament. Okay, that was the in-season tournament. I normally don't like the in-season tournament courts, but this one's kind of got me a little bit. It's kind of cool.
He made $49 million in 2025.
14 points a game. $49 million. Now tell me how many games he missed.
Will earn north of $50 million until 2028.
2028. Oh, no. Yeah, Philly fans, I'm so sorry. I complain about my Suns being screwed for the next couple of years because of contracts. You guys are in some deep doo-doo until 2028. No one's going to take these contracts on. You can't trade these guys. Nobody's going to... Oh, man, you're stuck with them.
When he'll be
Free Maxey.
38 years old. With one healthy knee between them, Embiid and George are like two 500-pound stones tied to the Sixers' legs, weighing them down to the bottom of the standings. But superstars don't have to be injured to handle...
That's what I get for talking shit, isn't it? Now it's my turn to... It's my turn. Here we go. Bradley Beal. Let's do it.
For their team's future. After the Suns made the 2021 NBA Finals,
got
and
our
won a
asses
franchise
kicked.
record 64 games in 2022,
Yep.
Phoenix went star hunting. First, they acquired Kevin Durant, giving up Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, 4 first-round picks.
And that's where it all ended. We went from title contenders to what the trash that we are now. Right there, we went star hunting. We gave away our future. I've talked about this so many times. I don't want to do this. Let's just go. Can I fast forward this?
pick swap. But that kind of yield was expected for a superstar of Durant's stature.
Yeah.
And when you can get Kevin Durant, you go for it, no
And,
matter
yeah,
the
you
cost.
fire all your
The problem
coaches.
was the second big trade the Suns made, when they acquired Bradley Beal from the Washington Wizards. Phoenix gave up Chris Paul, Landry Shamet, 4 first-round pick
We sure
swaps,
did.
and 6 second-round picks for Beal. But the Suns weren't done there.
And Beal has a no-trade clause.
Months later, they also traded DeAndre Ayton and a guy who has the potential to become a Defensive Player of the Year, Toumani Camara, for Grayson Allen, Yusuf Nurkic, Nasir Little, and Keon Johnson in a blockbuster 3-team deal that sent Damian Lillard to Milwaukee. In the span of 6 months, the Suns acquired 2 thick layers of golden paint, but they lost their engine. In the 2024 season, Phoenix could never find proper offensive balance with their 3 superstars,
Nope.
finishing with just the 10th best offensive rating in the NBA.
We got 3 scorers and no facilitators. Chris Paul was our facilitator. And we added 2 scorers and
Defensively, they regressed.
makes no basketball sense.
From the 3rd best defense in 2022 to 13th. And when they faced the Minnesota Timberwolves in the first round of the playoffs, it was an abomination. The Suns could do nothing to stop Anthony Edwards and the Wolves,
Nope.
getting swept from the playoffs, allowing more than 120
Oh my God, I forgot they swept us. Oh. And then the year before that, Luka destroyed us. Oh, and then this year we didn't even make the play-in.
points in 3 out of the 4 games. But worst of all is that they couldn't do anything to help themselves in the following season, and it was all because of Beal and his mammoth contract.
Yep.
Not only is Beal massively
Here we go.
overplayed for a player who's weak defensively and doesn't even average 20 points, but he also owns a no-trade clause, as the only player in the NBA other than LeBron James who has the power to veto any trade.
Damn.
Beal is 32 years old.
I forget about that because sometimes I joke about, it's really not a joke, of how I would have traded LeBron years ago, but I guess no trade clause. But I wouldn't sign him to a no trade clause, whatever. I'm not Genie Bus.
He made $50 million in 2025 and is owed $110 million through 2027, which makes his contract arguably the worst in the NBA.
Yeah, it's not that Bradley Beal's a terrible player. He's actually a solid player, but like not a max pay kind of no trade clause kind of player. Not even close. I'm sorry. But yeah, I don't want to sit here and talk trash like, oh, Bradley Beal sucks. No, the only thing that sucks about Bradley Beal is a stupid contract. And we suck because we took that contract on. Okay, I'm ready to move on to the next one.
2025, the Suns didn't even make the play-in.
Yeah, we suck.
And after the season, they'll have to trade Kevin Durant and go into a rebuild. There isn't a team
and we're stuck with Bradley Beal. That's the irony of it all. Not that I want KD here anymore. I want KD to go. He's done nothing but just like blow up our team. So nothing positive has happened since he's been here. We've gone through. We're going to go on our third coach now. Terrible. Our record has gotten worse and worse. I'm sorry. We're not talking about this, right?
The NBA dumb enough to trade for Beal, which means the Suns...
Wait, just say it. Just say it. Say it again.
Rebuild. There isn't a team in the NBA dumb enough to trade for Beal, which means the Suns are stuck with him without any future draft picks. However, the Suns aren't the only ones who traded all their picks for a mediocre player.
Good. Let's go.
Just look at Minnesota, who made one of the dumbest trades in recent memory when they paid a king's ransom to acquire Rudy Gobert.
Dude, what happened to these guys, man? What happened to them? They went out. I don't like the way they went out. Those last two games, they went out with like a whimper.
Gobert was a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year at the time, and in 2024 he added another with Minnesota. But Gobert is also a limited offensive player who averaged just 12 points per game throughout his career, with more turnovers than assists. For such a one-dimensional player, the Wolves gave up 5 players, 4 first-round picks, and a pick swap, which is more than the Suns gave up for KD.
Yeah, let me know in the comments. Are you guys like Rudy believers? Because I'm really not. I think he's all right. But I don't think he's like, I don't know, man. I really don't think he's that like phenomenal. I really don't. I get frustrated quite a bit when I watch him play, actually, because he's big, he's strong. He just doesn't utilize that very often, especially offensively.
NBA is an offensive league based on three-point shooting, and to pay such a hefty price for a defensive specialist, it's beyond comprehension. But to make things even worse, 2 of the players that the Wolves gave up are arguably better defenders than Rudy. Like Gobert, Jared Vanderbilt is a defensive specialist, but unlike Rudy, he does most of his work on the perimeter, hounding the best opposing scorers with limitless energy, quick lateral movement, and long arms. In today's NBA, where 40% of all shots come from behind the three-point arc, having strong perimeter defense is arguably more valuable than rim protection.
I'm curious if next year will be the first year in a while that the three-point shots go down a little bit, considering what happened to Boston in the playoffs this season. I wonder if it's going to change some of the mentality. I guess it depends on who wins the championship and what their offensive strategy is to win it, because it's a copycat league. We'll see. We'll see in a couple of weeks.
Built is also more valuable on the offensive end and can hit the occasional three-pointer. But if Minnesota really wanted a good protector, they already had one in Walker Kessler. Now, to be fair, Kessler was just a rookie who didn't play a single minute of NBA basketball at the time of the trade, and nobody could have predicted how good he was going to be. But Kessler, the 22nd pick of the 2022 NBA draft, proved to be a phenomenal rim protector, averaging 2.4 blocks per game in his 3 seasons with Utah, which is better than what Gobert averages in Minnesota. In 2025, Kessler was 3rd in the NBA in field goal percentage. He led the league in offensive rebounds, and when you think the Wolves also traded Patrick Beverley and Malik Beasley, who's one of the best three-point shooters in the NBA, plus all those picks, it's a disaster. But that's not all, because Gobert also has a salary like he's pooping gold.
I'm not going to hate, but this should be an inspiration to all the little kids out there. If you average 11 points in the NBA, you can get 200.
Only 14 other
well said, Jack.
Players have made more money than the Frenchman during his 3-year tenure in Minnesota. And because of his...
Wait, I was too busy laughing. Well, what did you say?
Other players have made more money than the Frenchman during his 3-year tenure in Minnesota. And because of his $43 million contract, the Wolves were forced to trade Karl Anthony Towns. Sure, Towns has his faults defensively, but the modern NBA is an offensive league.
Yeah, I'm also not a cat believer. Damn, man. That is a lot of money to make. I mean, he's solid defensively. Wrong image. You're solid defensively. The only gripe I have with you on defense is you got to learn how to stay out of foul trouble, bud. And then offensively, come on, man. Can we use some of that strength you use on defense, on the offensive end? You know? You've got double teams going on Ant-Man. You should have some easy looks down there. Can you capitalize on those? I guess it doesn't matter. You're already making so much money. Why would you care?
and Towns might be the best shooting center of all time. But somehow, the Wolves didn't stop there. Before the start of the 2025 season, Minnesota gave Rudy more money, signing him for 3 more years and $110 million.
Wait, 3? Hold up.
Minnesota gave Rudy more money,
Calculator time.
signing him for 3 more years and $110 million.
Okay, 110 divided by 3, 33.3. Okay, well, I mean, I've seen worse. 33.3 a year.
Dollars, considering that Gobert will be 33 years old.
Wait, that's not right. That would have made 100. 110 divided by 3, 36.6 mil a year.
First year of his new contract, and everything that the Wolves gave up for him, he is one of the most overpriced players in NBA history.
Okay, I mean, unlike the other dudes on this list, though, at least he's producing a little bit. You know, he is actually helping a little bit, but yeah, I agree. They gave up way too much for him. But this ain't no, like, at least it's not like a PG-13 situation.
While this next player isn't technically overpriced because he's one of the best players in the league, when you factor in how rarely he plays, he becomes one of the most overpriced players in NBA history.
All right, this is going to be cool because I forgot how much he gets paid. Whatever it is, it's probably too much. And I'm not saying that because he's a bad player. It's because he's never available. When he does play, like in this year's playoffs, he's still great. But you just can't count. He's not reliable.
On a per-game basis, and it's a shame that Kawhi Leonard needs to be mentioned. But since he signed with the Clippers, the Claw has played in just 56% of their games.
I'll put it this way. If I can pay him per game, I would give him the max. As far as, like, every game that you play, I'll give you the max money on the team. Like, for sure. Because he produces when he's out there. And he also doesn't seem to play unless he's, like, officially ready to play. You know what I mean? Like, if he's a little bit hurt, he's not going out there.
Even worse, until the 2025 playoffs, Leonard has been healthy in only one postseason, getting hurt every time the Clippers have made the playoffs in the previous 4 years.
Sources tell me that
Kawhi Leonard finally healthy this time around, but then James Harden has to poop his pants and ruin it. So, yeah, it's not going to happen.
Is expected to be sidelined for the start of this NBA season.
Kawhi Leonard will be sidelined indefinitely to start the season.
Kawhi made $49 million in 2025, and he's due to make an additional $50 million in 2026.
Okay, yeah, he's making too much money. Once again, not because of his talent level. His talent level's off the charts, but his availability to barely play and make $50 million a year. Damn. That's a good life.
Which wouldn't be a problem if he were available. If we divide the amount he's earned by the amount of games he's played for the Clippers, Kawhi made $730,000 for each game he suited up for, which is a hefty price, and why he's got to be mentioned among the worst contracts in the NBA.
Yo, can you imagine playing one game and walking away and be like, I just got $750,000 after taxes? Then you show up 2 days later, you do it again, like, yeah, now we're at 1.5 mil. You know, like, what the hell? That's some power, man. That is some power.
Kawhi isn't the only future first ballot Hall of Famer with a contract that's a little too pricey.
All right, you guys, let's talk about it real quick before we watch this. I don't know what to say about Damian Lillard anymore. He's one of the most gifted players I've seen on the offensive end. I thought he was going to go to Milwaukee, and him and Giannis, I mean, you know, 1-2 punch, big guy, little guy. Like, I thought these two were going to destroy everybody. And look what's happened. My question is, are you guys believers in Damian Lillard? Because I'm like 50-50 now. I don't know if what's going on in Milwaukee is his fault or Giannis's fault. Or what? We know it's not the coach's fault because this is their second coach trying to figure out what to do. So I don't even know. I don't know if I'd call him overpaid or anything like that. I don't think I really would because his talent level is amazing. But why is it not working? What do you guys think? I really want your guys' insight.
Even before his injury, Damian Lillard's contract was too big for this phase of his career, despite his gaudy offensive stats. Yes, Lillard is still an offensive juggernaut, averaging an efficient 25 points and 7 assists per game.
Okay.
His pick-and-roll game with Giannis is a thing of beauty, and easily one of the most unstoppable plays in basketball. And while Dame was never known as a defensive stopper, despite a 6'8" wingspan and a strong lower body, his defense has improved with the Bucks, and he's not taken plays off defensively like he did with Portland when he had to carry a much bigger offensive load. However, even with a healthy Lillard, the Bucks were mediocre.
Yeah.
But then on April 27th, everything fell down the drain.
Yeah.
Lillard tore his Achilles, which will sideline him for the entire 2026 season, when he'll be making $58 million.
Wait. He's out all next year? Oh, man. This is why the guaranteed contracts might have to go, you guys. $58 million the organization just blew. Wow, Milwaukee. Milwaukee, this is for you, Milwaukee.
With Dame time not ticking at all in 2026, the Bucks' best course forward is to trade Giannis and go into a rebuild.
So this
And
is why all
because
the rumors are to trade Giannis, huh? Oh, shoot.
Lillard is 35 now, with a $63 million player option for 2027, which he'll certainly exercise. The Bucks are like a deer in the headlights, headed for a hard collision with the bottom of the standings. Now, it's easy to recognize bad contracts for superstars who are still earning lofty amounts past their prime. But how about role players who aren't even living up to their role?
Okay.
One such example plays in Chicago, and his name is Patrick Williams. On paper, Williams is a general manager's and coach's dream. A 6'7" wing with a 7-foot wingspan, who can knock down three-pointers with 40% accuracy. But
40%?
in reality, Patrick is one of those players who never developed after their rookie season. Defensively, he has all the tools to be a lockdown stopper, but he often gets blown by, looks disengaged and unfocused, and is often ball-watching the action, which leaves his man open.
Crap, is he like a DeAndre Ayton type player?
The same story offensively, when he mostly camps in the corner waiting for the ball, watching the play unfold and not cutting into open spaces. Williams is also an average rebounder for his position and plays like a black hole, offering zero creation when he has the ball.
But then the next time he comes down, grabs the ball, and then it's almost like paralysis by analysis. Woo. And then you're like, damn it, son. Now just pass it ahead, because now you're letting valuable time go off the shot clock.
He's not physical enough, and at times he looks invisible on the court, just doing cardio and not leaving any imprint on the game. Patrick's averages look exactly the same now in his 5th year as they did when he was a rookie, with one major difference. In his first 4 seasons, he was at least knocking down his shots with 41% shooting from deep. But in 2025, his shot was atrocious. Williams made just 39% of his field goals and 35% behind the arc.
Wow.
Before the 2025
What is that release?
39% of his field goals and 35%.
This is a weird looking release here. I like that it's so high, but that does not look... No, that's not a natural flowing jump shot at all. Huh.
5% behind the arc. Before the 2025 season started, Williams signed a 5-year, $90 million extension. But unfortunately for the Bulls, it looks like he's one of those players who doesn't really love basketball, and his only motivation was to score a big contract. And he's not the only one.
No.
Similar to Williams,
A lot of players
DeJounte
like this.
Murray regressed after getting a 4-year, $114 million deal with the Atlanta Hawks.
Of course, yeah. You can give him $114 million. Yeah. Yeah. Time to enjoy the rest of your life now. He's like 20 years old.
2022, while he was still with the Spurs, Murray made an all-star team, led the league in steals,
and DeJounte comes away with the steal,
and was considered an elite two-way guard. But that was the peak of his career, and the Spurs sniffed it out before everyone else. After his all-star season, they traded DeJounte to Atlanta for a bunch of picks, fully immersing into tank mode for Victor Wembanyama.
Oh, smart.
The Hawks hoped that Murray would become one half of the best backcourt in the NBA, and that his game would fit perfectly with Trae Young, who's an offensive genius but a below-average defender. But their dreams never materialized. Even though Murray continued to score over 20 points per game, his defense regressed, and DeJounte and Trae were never the right fit. So they traded DeJounte to New Orleans, who stupidly gave them Dyson Daniels and 2 first-round picks. Not only is Daniels a much better defender than Murray, averaging a league-leading 3 steals per game in 2025, but his offense has also picked up too, while DeJounte's has plummeted. Murray shot just 39% from the field and 30% from 3 with the Pelicans. And to make matters worse, he tore his Achilles, arguably the worst injury in basketball. With 3 years and $95 million left on his deal, this trade might haunt the Pelicans for a long time.
Yeah, that's like $34.5 million a year, something like that.
They aren't alone. The Miami Heat made a similar mistake in 2024 when they traded for Terry Rozier, only to watch his production fall off a cliff. When he was in Charlotte, Rozier was putting up near all-star numbers, averaging 20 points and 5 assists per game.
Let me guess, he gets a big contract and then his production goes down? Let's find out.
Miami, at least, didn't give up too much for Rozier. Just the expiring contract of Kyle Lowry and a first-round pick.
Kyle Lowry,
given
over
the way
me?
Rozier has played since the trade, even one first-rounder looks like a steal for Charlotte. In 2025, Terry averaged just 10.6 points per game on bad 39% shooting and 29% for 3, showing that he's only capable of putting up numbers on bad teams.
No matter how you slice it, Terry Rozier is making it increasingly difficult to ignore just how bad he's been.
Shoot, the way they word it, that's what I was trying to ask about Dame. Is Dame just a great player when he's on a bad team? Because there's been a lot of players throughout history just like this. That it's only if they have the ball in their hand 24/7, they're the whole center of the offense and they can put up buckets. But if they're part of a system, they can't produce. That's what I was really trying to ask about Dame.
And we're at the point where this nightmare season for him has reached rock bottom.
Scary Terry's been almost unplayable at times, and Coach Spoelstra didn't play him at all in the 2025 playoffs. Rozier did not perform at the level that the Heat expected, while earning $25 million this year, with $26 million left on his deal in 2026.
Okay.
Another guy who regrets.
Well, that's bad, but at least it's almost over.
After he signed a big contract, earned $27 million in 2025, and will pocket $133 million more through 2028.
Ooh.
It's Jeremy Grant, a player formerly known as a lockdown defender and a knockdown shooter, which is not something we can say anymore. In his first 2 seasons with the Blazers, Grant averaged over 20 points per game, with a 53% effective field goal percentage. But in 2025, he only averaged 14 points, shooting a horrible 37% from the field. And given that he's over 31 years old, with 4 years left on his contract, the Blazers can only hope that his form picks up, because Grant is currently as untradeable as it gets. His teammate DeAndre Ayton is in a similar boat, albeit with a shorter length on his contract.
It's the only good thing to happen over the last couple of years with the Suns is we got rid of his ass. He did talk about not interested in basketball. This is the ultimate example of that, in my opinion.
Former number 1 pick in the 2018 draft had a few good years with the Suns, but since the 2022 finals, Ayton has regressed year after year. The man who calls himself Dominatin' does very little dominating these days.
He does when he plays 2K, which he does all the time.
Averaging 14 points per game and playing mediocre defense. Portland had better success.
Could you guys imagine being in the NBA, but you're playing as your character in 2K and like working on your craft in a video game? But you're actually in the real NBA, and you're choosing that over working on your actual basketball game in real life. Like, I see like some weird contradiction here, because if I was addicted to playing myself in a video game, I'd want my rating to be high, because I know I'm going to play next year's 2K, right? Because I'm an addict. So shouldn't I want to like increase my rating by playing hard throughout the season? And then being like, yeah, see, now I'm myself playing a video game and I'm like a 96 rating. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I just find it funny. It's sad, too. These guarantee contracts, they got to go.
With rookie center Donovan Clingan, even though Ayton's the highest paid player on the team, earning $34 million this season. Thankfully for all the Blazers fans, DeAndre has only 1 year left on his deal, and he'll make $36 million in 2026, but it wouldn't be a surprise if he gets traded in the near future. That said, Portland's future looks a whole lot brighter than Toronto's, who have given questionable long-term extensions to two different players. The Knicks traded Emmanuel Quickley because they didn't want to pay him, and in return they got OG Anunoby, who's one of the best defenders in the NBA. It was obvious that Quickley was going to get paid by the Raptors, but it's a complete mystery why they gave him a 5-year, $175 million extension. Sure, Quickley is a speed demon, a microwave scorer who can get hot in a split second, but such players are usually coming off the bench. And with the Knicks, Quickley started just 27 out of 253 games. But the Raptors saw something more in him, and they paid him like he was a borderline all-star. However, so far it hasn't yielded results, as Quickley only slightly increased his averages, while his efficiency decreased. And he still hasn't shown that he can be a full-time point guard in the NBA.
Is he a top-notch facilitator? We haven't really seen that. Is he a bucket getter? He could be, but he doesn't look for his own shot.
But the same thing they did with Quickley, the Raptors then repeated with Brandon Ingram. In 2025, Ingram was in the last year of his contract, and the Pelicans tried their hardest to trade him all season long with no results. But then came the Raptors, who gave him a 3-year, $120 million contract before he even played a single game for the Canadian team. On paper, Ingram is a triple threat. He can shoot, pass, and dribble, averaging 23 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists during his 6-year tenure in New Orleans. But in reality, a lot of his points are just empty calories on bad teams. And given his lengthy injury history and the demeanor that screams, "I'm all about my numbers and not team success," it's gonna get really cold in Canada. Speaking of Canadians, how about Jamal Murray, whose partnership with Nikola Jokic propelled the Nuggets to an NBA championship?
Hey, Jamal Murray is producing, though. How about Jordan Poole?
In 2025, Jamal had another strong season, with 21 points and 6 assists on average, shooting 47% from the field and 39% from three.
Yeah.
When he gets hot, Murray can look like the best point guard in the NBA. And with the 55 points he scored against Portland, Jamal has the 5th highest scoring performance of 2025.
I personally like Murray because he knows he's playing with Jokic, and I watch him. He's giving the ball up to Jokic first. Jokic is always the first option. And if Jokic needs a second option, Murray's a pretty reliable second option.
However, the big problem with Murray isn't his play. It's his inability to stay healthy for longer periods. Throughout the last 5 years, the Canadian point guard has battled many injuries, including the ACL tear that forced him to miss the entire 2022 season. In September 24, Murray signed a 4-year, $208 million extension that kicks in next season and will earn him $62 million in 29.
That's a problem.
And if he manages to stay healthy, that's fine, given his efficiency and chemistry with the Joker.
$62 million.
But if he keeps getting hurt, that contract could become a problem for the Nuggets. And it's a lot of money for a player who never made the All-Star team and has never averaged more than 21 points per game.
When is he going to raise his level of play to all-star level? We're not even talking all NBA, just all-star level, and help Jokic out. He's averaging about 17 points right now.
Thank you for watching. And if you like this video, we have another one for you right here.
Damn. Wow. What do I have to say after all of that, man? I think Paul George might have the worst contract. What's sad is I used to really like Paul George. I have like so much respect for him coming back from that injury off of the Olympics, the way he did off of the USA hoops. Like that's one of those moments where you see somebody and you're like, this guy can never play again. Like, no way. But then he comes back and he's still a solid player. I don't know, man. This contract makes me want to throw up, though. And he's also like, I don't know. I don't think he's that interested in basketball anymore. He's so filthy rich at this point, and I mean, he's older. He's dedicated his whole life to the game. At this point, I don't think it was wise to give him such a big contract. Because if you really love the game and you really want to stick around and be part of a title contender or something, then you'll take a little bit less money. You've been making a lot of money your whole life, but it's a weird predicament they're in right now because he's getting paid so much, but he's not there. And when he's there, he's not very good. And you see how much time he's devoting into his podcast. This is a big conflict in my mind. if you're out there producing and you're doing what you're doing what you're expected to do with your contract, I don't care what other like extracurricular stuff you do, man, go at it. Have 5 YouTube channels. I don't care. You're putting up 30 and 10 or whatever, like, hey, but we're okay. But when you're underperforming the way he is and still popping out a video every 2 days, it's a bad look, you guys. It just is. So, yeah, there's other ones, though. Ben Simmons, I'm going to look it up real quick here because I was shocked to see he's still in the league. Ben Simmons contract. Okay. He is getting paid 1 year, 10 mil. Is that 10 mil? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. Or wait. Sorry, you guys. I know you can't see this. Cash. Career endings. Oh, he's only getting paid $1 million. Okay, that's kind of funny. I gotta say, the Clippers have him on a 1-year deal, and it looks like that deal is probably over now. And they only gave him $1 million. Okay, that's not so bad. That's kind of it's still dumb. I don't know what the hell they're thinking anybody is thinking by giving him a contract. If there's anybody in the league that's proven he's just there for the fame and the money, it was him. But at least he's not running away with like 30 mil a year or whatever like he was. I think he was getting paid like 40, wasn't he? For the last couple of years there. Anyways, you guys, I'm like rambling off topic. Let me know what you think about these contracts. What's the worst contract in your opinion? I think it's a valid question because Ben Simmons does provide a little bit. Would you give Ben Simmons $1 million right now for 1 year to play on your team? I personally wouldn't, just because like I value the winning mentality, and this is not good for my locker room if I have a guy like this in my locker room. So anyways, let me know what you guys think, and yeah, enjoy the rest of your night. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this, and be water, my friends.